If you do want your arm to rotate, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to scale this block in once, just like that. And then off of this block, you're then gonna want to place a servo. We move one just in the center. It's a little hard because the smokestack's here, but just here, place it in the center first. And then, like, see where the servo is? I'm gonna move it down just once, and then I'm gonna set my move to 0.5, push that inward just like that. And then now what we're gonna do, let's quickly cover this up. How I would do this is scale this up like that, and then set your scale to 0.1, and then just give it like that little bit of leeway. Do the same on the other side. Set your scale to 0.1, push that up real quick, and then you can also fill in this spot in the middle just like that. So 0.1, but this time the 0.1 you'll be doing is here, and just try and paint the servo so that it's the same color with everything. Oh, there's Z fighting though, so you can fix that by changing the smokestack, or also just turning the servo invisible. But I mean, I think it looks alright just in there. So now you'll color the rest of this red. Actually, I'm gonna color this red as well. Yeah, you should probably color the servo red as well. And yeah, that looks pretty clean. Now what you're gonna want to do is select all of this, everything from the arm. Make sure everything is selected all the way up to the piston, and set it to collision off. Yes, collision off. And then you're gonna want to set your clone to 2. Try and select everything again. Make sure, how you know you selected everything is if that piston is also touched. Then rotate it around 180. Alright, so once it's aligned like this, actually, hold on, I'm gonna slowly move it out with 0.2. Just use 0.2, because how you can tell that it's aligned is if the piston, there's space for the piston. But as you can see, these blue lines are not touching, so what I'm gonna have to do is set my move to 0.1 and move that in once, because if the blue lines are touching, then that means the piston is touching. So let's check real quick. There you go. And if you want to just be safe, I'd suggest this as well. Off of the piston, place a titanium block just like that on the inside. So inside of these walls, just place one right there. Now you can delete this block. Just delete the gun, because the left hand will be normal. Or actually, we can place an energon sword. You can make an energon sword if you want, but I think there isn't enough space for it. No, I can make a sword this long. Let's just keep it simple and stick with the fist. Okay, change the piston length here to 6. Yeah, that should be good. That should be good. Now what you want to do is right there, just build a fist. That's really what it is. So place one titanium block. Okay, so scale this piece down, and we're gonna build a fist. So one out on every single spot, you know, like usual. There you go. And then I'm gonna just fill this in like this. Now just make sure it's still not touching. And then what you're gonna want to do on these sections is set your scale to 0.1 and just make sure nothing is touching at all. So just like that. Paint it blue like usual. It's just a simple fist, but if you want to add more detail, you can scale this out once, I think. Scale that out once with 0.5, just like that. You can scale these parts in with 0.5. Actually, it's looking like a head of its own now, but that's optional if you want. It's looking like another gun, to be honest, but who cares. Okay, so actually no, I gotta test. Oh yes, and before I forget, take that entire fist that we just built, make sure to include the piston. Actually no, that's already collision off, so yeah, but just make sure everything on the left arm is collision off. Good. Okay. Now what we're gonna do is this same centerpiece, you're gonna want to build off of it, close off this section. You can use scale 0.5 so that it's accurate, and just like that. Make sure it's half a block long. It doesn't matter like really how thick. 0.5 or 1 will work. It just covers off everything else. And all that's left is the head. Okay, before you test the arms, there is one thing that unfortunately isn't working. So what you're gonna have to fix is scale this like this and do that on the other side. This is just the top part. Scale it back by 1. Oh yeah, and these pieces, make sure to paint them red as well because they poke out a little bit. So yeah, just make sure you do that. Okay, so these servos, you're gonna want to take the torque right here and set it to yellow. Servo angle, let's make it 90, just full 90. Find a center with scale tool right here. Place that piston, and actually place 2, and set the piston length to 8. Now on this block, you want to place a block, flatten it down by 0.5, scale it outward using scale 1, just like that. And now you want to build the same frame again. Place the blocks like this and scale it down by 0.5 so that you have something that looks just like this. Now set your scale to 2, scale these back, make sure they're not touching the pistons. Oh yeah, and scale 1 just right there. Actually set your scale to 1 and do it just before it touches that point. You then want to place a block that aligns with everything and then delete this block. Scale it outward by 1 on both sides, then place another block here, scale it outward 1, 2, 3, 4 with scale 1, 1, 2, 3, 4, and then the same thing just right here. So your neck should look like that. Paint this gray, and first up should be the mask, so we're just gonna place a block right in the center, and then off of this you're gonna want to take this, scale it by 1, 1, 2, 1, 2, and set your scale to 2, 1, 2, 3. Place these 2 blocks just right there. They're sticking out by half a block. Set your move to 0.5 and move those down once. So just like that. You then want to flatten these blocks, paint them blue. Okay, so scale this until there's only half a block of space there, just like that. Now set your scale to 2 and everything that's here, scale it down once. Just these 3 blocks that I'm doing right now. You want to build right here, the rest. Set your scale to 1 and just before it touches that, there you go. Now scale this wall, make sure it's touching as far as the mask, so just watch what I'm scaling. And you want to paint this blue. So there, the shape of the head is starting to come together. Now you want to scale this out 1, 2, 1, 2, and scale these blocks inward, just like that. And scale it out once, so that everything is connecting. Now what we're gonna do is move down to the neon blocks, and just on these 2 spots, just like that, paint them the same blue. So now flatten these blocks out, set your scale to 0.5 and push them inward once. Then on this titanium piece you want to place just titanium blocks and flatten it out just like that. Make this gray a darker gray. Make it a darker gray, like a pretty visible darker gray. And then you want to then off of that titanium block build a piece just like this. Now take the blue that we're building with and take it down 1 tone, just like that. You can scale this till it hits the blue helmet. Now what you want to do is scale this up by 1, just so that it looks like that. And then you can scale the rest of this just like so that it covers up everything. Now with this you want to fill in these little spaces just like this, using scale 0.5 so that it's like a full square. And then clone this piece using 0.5 and then just scale in whatever holes you have to fill. So it's pretty simple. Set your scale to 1.5 and scale these 2 pieces up. Now I'm gonna make the head a little wider, so set your scale to 0.5. Just move these 2 blocks outward. And then set your scale to 0.5 and just fill in the rest of the space that is needed to be filled right there. So then what you want to do is place a block right here, just on the end. Scale it by 1 and scale it to the other end. Okay, now scale back using 1, 1, 2, and then once on the back. And then off of this block, you then want to place another block, flatten this down. You then want to scale this block down, scale this towards there. Okay, so take this piece and then make sure it's aligned with the other block, then scale it back 1 and then 1, 2. So just like that. You then want to scale this piece down once. Make sure this one's the same blue as the other. You want to then take this piece and clone it towards the other side. Now you can actually customize your head, just make sure nothing goes past this piston. Oh yeah, fill in these holes as well with scale 0.5. I forgot to do them earlier, so they probably weren't on screen, so yeah. Place your block right here. It should be unaligned. Scale that back 0.5, then scale it to the other side 0.5. And then what you want to do is set your scale to 1, flatten that down, and just cover up everything else. Then you want to make this also the darker blue. You're gonna want to make this collision off and then select everything but your jetpack if you do have one and anchor it off. Everything here will be collision off as well. Make sure this piston is also collision off. Now just in case of blocks that we've duplicated, you want to delete this lever and then place the lever again. Now this helps me while I'm building. What I do is I place the lever in the sky, just like somewhere here, just somewhere in the center in the sky, so that you can see every single string just point towards where it is. And now what we're gonna do is set your scale to 8, open this part up real quick, then place that block down just somewhere inside. Make sure it's not touching the pistons though. I mean, it's touching it right now, but place it in between somewhere. And then whatever this is key binded to, remove it. Alright, here's a way to tell as well. Take this out and there are no keybinds, so now you can slide that right back in. So now you can save